Moving on majestically to the Western Regional 3-minute thesis competition as our winner today, Carey Simpson.
Muscle growth is commonly referred to as muscle hypertrophy, and it's the goal of many an athlete, average Joe, and older adults. As a society, we are increasingly obsessed with new and innovative ways to make our muscles larger and stronger, be it for performance, functional strength in aging, or just to pick heavy things up and put them back down again in the gym. Muscles grow when they're subjected to a repetitive load, and if that load is large enough, over time, the muscle fibers will tear. Now, this is totally normal and what we want because it'll stimulate the immune system to bring resources to that area and create a patch on the tear. Those patches will build up on each other and eventually make the muscle fiber larger. Because the muscle fiber makes up the muscle itself, the muscle then gets larger as well. Now, this makes sense if you're thinking about strength training or maybe sprinting, but does it make sense when you're thinking about stretching? When I say stretching, most people's first thought goes to a yoga room with a nice lady asking you to bend forward and touch your toes. It's not really taking you to bulging biceps and big giant calves, but maybe it should. If you look at my slide and you can get past the beautifully muscular Charles Atlas, the muscular Bruce Lee, and the wonderfully muscular Tony Horton, you're gonna see a nice set of calves up there. And maybe those calves got your inner voice to wondering, just how does one get calves like that? And secondly, hey, is that guy's left calf bigger than his right calf? Well, I'm glad you asked. This subject and the other 10 that were part of my thesis protocol were subjected to a stretch 5 times a week for 6 weeks. We did this by placing their foot on a leg press machine, and the load caused their toes to come closer to their shin, therefore stretching the calf and the Achilles tendon of their left or non-dominant leg. This was the result. And if you're asking if that left calf is bigger than the right, you bet it is. But how do we know that the stretch caused the change? Well, we had electrodes on the leg, and that monitored the muscle activity. See, for this to be considered a stretch and not a contraction, that activity had to be 0. So you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, so if this worked, how well did it work? Well, the average growth was 8%, and you can see that as the blue line on the graph behind me. So we made them grow, and we made them grow a lot. So now you're thinking, well, gosh, Carey, this sounds great. I'm gonna go get me a leg press and sit on my couch and eat some ice cream and stretch, and I'm gonna get as jacked as Arnold. Well, no, it's not quite that easy, and there was a drawback. The force that the muscle could produce over that time period went down, and that's the red line on the graph. So we made the muscles bigger, but we didn't necessarily make them stronger. We probably compromised the position that they were in to produce the force into a less than optimal. So what does this mean? This means that after a bit more research, we might have to make our definition of strength training a little more flexible and include stretching. Thank you.